If you started to play Delta Force operations on console and you're finding yourself getting clapped about while shooting like this, then maybe you're not the problem, it's your gun build. And today we're going to solve that issue. Here it is, the top 3 builds in Delta Force operations. Okay, so first things first, we're going to have a look at the AUG. Now this gun is very accurate and has a good rate of fire. The only downside is it's going to lose close range to the future weapons I'm going to show you in this video. So let's get into the cheap build of the AUG. The foregrip, we're going to go for the VFG Night foregrip. It's going to offer some good handling, which always helps in any fight. The big one is the muzzle, though. The steel muzzle brake is very cheap, but gives you 6 in control, which really helps with the build to keep that accuracy and that vertical recoil under control. Then we're going to go for the barrel. We're going to go for the integral 3x scope barrel. This is going to save us a ton of money actually buying a scope and still give us those optics. On the right rail, we're just going to get a bit more handling there. And then this is where the real price comes in. The AUG stock pad. It costs 60,000, but with some great stats, it's too much to pass up on, and I have to pick this up. The cheek pad also goes on top, offering even more stability and control for this build. No magazine, we're going to keep this nice and cheap, and then adding the little mag assist. Let's try this out in the firing range so you can see what it can do. As you can see, it's fairly accurate for a cheap build. You'll be hitting your targets at range. As you can see, once we get to that 3rd and 4th target, full autoing probably isn't ideal from there. But the first one and the second one, and even the 3rd to a degree, get the full beat down. Okay, so for the AUG, we have the Chad build for the AUG. Now this comes with the Phantom vertical foregrip, gives you great ADS speed and control for a minus bit of stability, but you will not need that with this gun as it does not move. Now for the muzzle, we're going to go for the Sandstorm vertical compensator. Going to give us a ton of vertical control and that camera stability to make it easier to completely track down our targets. For the barrel, we've got the long barrel. It's 88,000, but the range and muzzle velocity are really going to help us win and dominate those longer range sprays. Then for the left, right, and upper rail, we're going to use just the handguard to give us +3 on handling across the board. We'll also use that on the patch as well. For the optic, my favorite scope, the Recon 1.55 adjustable scope. This allows you to shoot close range and then switch to those further targets away with the 5x. Makes it really nice, and it has a great scope. You'll see that when we get into the training range in just a moment. Again, we're going to have the cheek pad, and we're going to have that AUG stock pad. Great stats to be added there for honestly not that much. Again, we're not going to go for the mag. It's a 60 round drum mag. You're not going to need it, and it's just going to take your handling far down below where we want it to be. So let's try this in the firing range. You see how this Chad build really doesn't move at all. So let's just go into 5x spray. Honestly, for the 5x, it does wobble around a lot. But for the 1x, completely accurate. I'm not actually the best anymore with the AUG. I've been using the CI19, which we'll get to in just a second. But there you go. You can see it really coming into effect there. Okay then, for the CI19 assault rifle, we are going to start with the tactical long barrel for 32,000. This is going to give us great range and muzzle velocity as well as control. Really going to make this feel like a really standard and nice build for us. The muzzle, we're going to go back to that steel muzzle brake for 10,000. It's super dirt cheap and it's going to just keep that control really nice and high to have a beamy result. This foregrip is quite expensive and you can chop this out. This is for the cheap build, but the horizontal control and firing stability and the camera stability will help you so much in a firefight. Even for the cheap build, I feel like this is much needed. For the patches, we're going to go for a load of control. For the optic, I've gone for a nice cheap reflex sight. It's 13,000, But for a clean picture and only a -2 on the handling, this is a really nice scope to just take down in those early close corridors. Now for the stock, you are going to lose some stability here, but for a cheap stock, the control and handling is going to come into effect massively. For the rear grip, we're going to go for the Vanguard light grip. This is honestly, I think it's the best grip on the weapon anyway, and it's only for 17,000, bringing some great handling stats. And for the mag mount, we'll just use the small mag assist, a low 5k, but for an extra point in handling, why not? Let's try this out in the firing range. Here we are in the firing range with the CR19. As you can see, first target, second target, and then the third target is where you're going to really struggle. But for this, a cheap gun build for the first and two targets, you can see how it really destroys them quite quickly. Again, that third target is probably going to be out of range. Okay, for the CI19 Chad build, we're going to go for that same barrel, and we're also going to go for the same foregrip as we did for the cheap build, but here's where it gets a little bit different. The muzzle, we're actually going to use the Bastion horizontal compensator. Now, this is what makes this gun so good. Most guns use the vertical compensator, which is 3 times the price. But for this, we're going to need all that horizontal control, stability, and again, the camera stability. For the left rail, I've gone for the purple laser light combo. It's going to give you that handling, accuracy, and the tactical stance if that's what you prefer, but I have that switched off at all times. This is where it gets a little bit interesting, and this is where a lot of the cost can come in. For 52,000, we're going to lower the handling, but up the fire rate. This is going to allow us to trade more effectively at close quarters when we're in those close corridor fights, really battling it out in normal and hard mode. For the left patch and the rest, we're again going to be using those control pads to get an extra 3 in control. The optic, again, we're going for that 1.5 5 adjustable scope. It's my favorite. It's a clean picture. You've been seeing it and you will become a believer in no time. Stop buying this ACOG 6X scope. It's really expensive and is not very good. For the stock, we're going for the second most expensive stock, which is actually the UR Spec Ops tactical stock. Going to give us a ton in control and stability with just a little bit in return of handling. You're going to lose a little bit there, but honestly, it's not going to bother you too much when this thing becomes an absolute laser beam. The rear grip, just like we had on the cheap build, was the Vanguard light grip, giving us a bunch of handling. And again, the mag assist for the extra 1 in handling. Let's test this out in the firing range. Now we're in the firing range. We've got that 1.5 scope. You can see how beamy this is, even to the third target. Again, first target, second target, third target, and I think, yeah, you're going to struggle on console with the fourth target. As you can see, it has a bunch of recoil, but you can control it. It doesn't feel too bad, but it will just bounce around a little bit at the end. What this is so good for is actually just the pure headshot damage. A 2-tap to the head is absolutely insane, and that will eliminate your opponents. Last but not least is the Scar H. Now this thing is a powerhouse and not always easy to use, so I saved it for last. Now, the barrel, we're going to use the Reaver long barrel. Yes, it is 90,000, but the amount of stats you actually gain from this is absolutely insane, and I feel like it's very much needed. For the foregrip, we're going to go for the Phantom vertical foregrip to give you that nice ADS speed and control. Again, we're going to go back to that steel muzzle brake. With a good control value, it offers +6 for only 10,000. I believe that's great value for money. For all the patches, we're actually going to go for handling in all these patches to really give it that nice juice at close range. Optic, we're going to go for a nice cheap holographic sight, really keep the price of this one down. The stock, again, we're going to go for the light stock, offering that control and handling at the cost of stability. Now this does make it a little bit wonky at times at further ranges, so this gun you're going to be wanting to fight more close quarters than you would outside. The rear grip, we're going to go for the Invasion rear grip. Obviously, nice control and handling for just 20,000. The mag, we're going to give it the 30 round mag, as again this comes stock is 20 and it's just not enough in firefights. With the mag assist, we'll go for the black one just because I like black. It suits the gun so much better and gives us that +1 handling. Let's try it out in the firing range to show you what this beast can do. As you can see, the first 2 targets, it's absolutely fine, but then the 3rd target is absolutely a no-go. Again, more of a close quarters build. This thing will take your opponents down in seconds at close range, especially with a good enough ammo type. Okay, so if you've watched this far into the video, you're in for an absolute treat. This thing is the best gun on console by far. We're going to use the Beaver long barrel again, but we are going to be pairing it up with the bevel foregrip. We're going to get all that horizontal control. The muzzle, we're going to use that vertical compensator to keep everything nice and streamlined, so we are not going to be missing a bullet, and really do not have to fight control with this thing in comparison to the cheap build. All the rails are going to be decked out with stability, and you'll see that when we go into the training range next. For the tactical laser, we're going to go for the green laser light combo. These are all pretty much similar, but you can go for whatever color you prefer. For the optic, we're going to use the tactical riser, and then we're going to use the panoramic red dot sight for 32,000. And again, we're going to raise that optic as well with the micro sight riser. The stock, we're going to use the Spec Ops tactical stock to give us more of that control and stability. The rear grip, we're going to give the control and handling with the Phantom rear grip. The mag, again the 30 round mag with the mag assist. Now check this beam in the firing range. With this build, you can even attempt to shoot the 3rd and 4th target, and I'm barely having to pull down on the stick. It feels really weird, but this is what the absolute meta looks like on console right now. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. We've made absolute millions on console, so if you do have any questions, make sure to check out the live stream and make sure to hit that subscribe button when possible. I'd really appreciate it. We are trying to put out tons more Delta Force console content for you, so until next time, see you around.